First, you're going to start with a handful of raffia and meet the ends together so that you can then wind it around your finger, and you're going to be making kind of a nest, like a flat nest for the straw. And you'll take one strand, the longest one, and use it kind of like a needle and thread. You're going to go around just securing things in place, and it takes a bit of time, a little work, and some finagling. You will be an expert finagler at the end of this. So once it's starting to look a little more tamed, you can start tying knots and tucking things away just to make sure they are nice and secure and won't be coming apart. And then make sure to trim away any extra strays and flyaways. And then you can kind of squish and mold it to the shape that you're needing and to make sure it's even. I've got a little wooden ball and a wooden spool, little mini ones for the head and body. Go ahead and hot glue them together. Doesn't have to be a spool, I suppose, but that's what I had, and it just makes things easy. And then here's the next hard part, is getting a piece of white felt and just gluing things in place to make this the swaddling cloth or the blanket. You want to make sure to cover up the neck because it's not really much of a neck, but you just want that head peeking out and the rest to be swaddled. So try to make sure that you don't get it too close to the edge where any glue squirts out. Obviously be careful and don't get it all over your fingers because it will be hot. And then the biggest part of this is to make it look nice and then to make sure it's not bulky. From here you're going to have to figure out, okay, how do I kind of squish this without making a big blob on the back, on the bottom. So a lot of kind of cutting away and folding and testing it before you do the final glue. Once you've got it like you want it, go ahead and make it permanent. And hold it down for a while just to make sure that it's really held well. And he should fit very nicely on his little spot. Take some decently thick wire and connect it to one side. This is going to be the side over his head. And then take the tail of it and wrap it around a pen or pencil. So you've got your spiral there. Kind of like other things, you're going to finagle this a little bit to get it to the right length and height and shape. Take some wire cutters, cut it a little longer than you think you might want. And that's where your star is going to hang from, which you want to be pretty much directly over the center of the baby. I have these round jewelry, I guess, pliers. You can just use regular pliers if that's what you have. Make a little hook. So for the star, I originally made one out of felt, kind of stitched it up. You can, if you find a good size and color button, you can do that, or I was considering making one out of polymer clay. This time I decided to try a sticky backed foam. So I just take that and I freehand a nice little star on there. Cut it out. And then you'll be putting it on that again to trace a second one, because you'll want two of these. And cut it out. So you're going to take an extra piece of the wire, you're going to make another ring in it, another loop, and then just a straight section. This is what your star is going to be connected to. So cut off a little bit, and then you're going to stick it on there and sandwich it between the two pieces. Now these two pieces don't meet up perfectly, so I did take some scissors afterwards and kind of trim it down to make sure that they were as close to being the same size and shape as possible. Then you take your original loop that you have on your kind of spring wire, open it up to put that on there, and then close it back up. And again, you'll be kind of adjusting the wire to make sure it's the right height. You don't want the star laying directly on the baby Jesus. So you want to make sure everything is just right before you make it permanent and glue the baby on there. At this point, I feel like he's a little lopsided, so I'm making him a raffia pillow. Also, if it's lopsided from the bottom, you could add a little stuffing down there too. It doesn't have to be quite as neat as the original nesting of everything. Just make it look decent, make sure it looks like you want it to, hot glue it down, and then you're good to go from there. Alright, we feel good about that, so we're gonna make it permanent. And again, hold him down for a while just to make sure that he's good and secure, and then trim up any last little bits from that pillow you just added. And there you go. There is our finished little nativity. Fit in the palm of your hand. I like having it out all year round because I just think it's such a cute little decoration to remind us about our Savior.